Hello, my name is Ann Carter Mulligan, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions at the Batten School. In this short session, I'm going to walk you through the Batten application and evaluation process and provide tips for successful application. If you are interested in learning more about the functionality and basic navigation of the application itself, please see the separate application walkthrough recording available in the application portal. Here's what I'll cover today: Batten's mission and values, the application and evaluation process, a few tips and suggestions for approaching the different pieces of your application, and application deadlines and resources going forward. The mission of the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy is to develop leaders to solve the world's toughest public policy challenges. Through training in policy analysis and critical leadership skills, we seek to attract the highest caliber and most diverse student body possible to fulfill our mission of cultivating ethical and enlightened leaders to serve our world. Our focus is on helping students become catalysts for change in an uncertain world, with an academic experience grounded in hopefulness and humanity, evidence-based decision-making and ethical judgment, and the integration of multiple lenses and perspectives. The applications to our programs are intended to draw out the attributes, experiences, achievements, and potential of students who share this vision. These are the basic pieces of the application. Depending on the program, we collect a resume or CV, your unofficial transcripts, anywhere from 1 to 3 essay responses, 2 recommendations, except for the minor, and an optional addendum. No application fees are required. In evaluation, each application is read at least twice by 2 different members of the admissions committee. There's no single element that's going to make or break an application. No GPA cutoff, no prescribed classes outside of the prerequisites, and no set activities. A balance of factors will determine your admissions decision. Across the application, we want to see your passion, engagement, interest in policy, and academic growth. We want to see how you're already a leader and how you hope to grow that skill set to create real-world impact. Specifically, here are the things we evaluate. Leadership. Think about it broadly, even more than formal roles. How do you understand yourself to be a leader? What skills do you possess, and how do you practice them? Professional vision and motivation to study policy. Essentially, why you want to join the Batten community. Work experience and community engagement. This is paid and unpaid experience in internships, jobs, clubs and orgs, and other school or community service. Overall academic performance. What we're really looking for is growth over time. We'll look at the grades in the prerequisite courses and other coursework. And we want to see you challenge and push yourself through taking harder coursework as time goes on and maintaining full course loads. Specifically, we'll look for evidence of quantitative aptitude, especially at the accelerated MPP level, in preparation for the econ and stats of our quant sequence. And finally, we'll assess your writing ability and how well you communicate. What follows are some concrete tips to put you on the best possible footing as you prepare for application. Resumes. You should utilize whatever format works best for you. We are agnostic about particular style, format, and length. What we want is a lens into what you consider to be the most relevant experiences, preparing you to study policy and leadership. A concern throughout the pandemic has been that there have been more limited opportunities for students to get involved. So think creatively about ways you can showcase your policy interests and demonstrated leadership through work, volunteering, internships, research, and in the classroom. We're glad to review a balance of high school and college activities, but strive to show us more about you in the here and now. This is even more important for those of you applying to the accelerated MPP, to show us your readiness for operating at the graduate level. Wherever you can, err on the side of showcasing your college experience. As a general principle, throughout the application, work to curate the content you're presenting to give us balance. While ambassadors will be available to give you feedback on your resume at our application workshop and through the winter break, If you want guidance on style, format, or length, check out the UVA Career Center's many available resources. With recommendations, again, we urge you to think about balance so we can get a three-dimensional view of you as a candidate. In addition to the high school versus college balance, make sure recommendations are from someone in an academic setting, and then perhaps someone who can speak about you in some other way, whether employer, mentor, research supervisor, or coach. Think about where there are gaps in what you're trying to present to us, or where you'd especially like to highlight your strengths, and ask someone who can speak about you in that capacity. Especially if you're in your second year, you might not have gotten to know a faculty member that well because you've been in larger lecture settings or you've taken more virtual and lower level courses. That's okay. Ask a TA or a professor in a class with smaller sections. We often receive recs from instructors from NWAR or foreign language classes. Think outside the box. Titles aren't as important as a recommender's ability to speak in concrete terms about your strengths. This is the form that recommenders are pointed towards once their information is entered into the application. There's a free response box at the end of the form, and they have the ability to upload the usual letter of rec if they've already prepared one for you. You see here the exact criteria that we as an admissions committee use to evaluate applications. You'll see we focus on a balance of achievement and potential, hard skills, motivation, and some other measures relating to things we value as a Batten community. For your essays, as a general approach, keep in mind this tagline: personal, policy, practice. Infuse the personal, bring in your policy interests, and show us how you practice those values and interests. It's important to be authentic. Don't just write what you think the committee wants to hear. Use real-world personal examples and experiences that tie together in a narrative. You're telling us a story. Most strong essays have a call to action, as in what called you to apply to Batten and why do you want to study public policy? Share that moment with us in your essays. It doesn't have to be anything momentous. Whether it was a visible inequity, engagement with a social problem, or just a desire to help someone in need, make sure you spell it out. Also important, don't neglect one side of the question or the other. If we're asking you, for example, to highlight your interest in policy and leadership, make sure you address both. And finally, keep to word counts. This is a test in and of itself. You have to be concise and strike a balance between sharing your story and fleshing out answers to the questions. The optional addendum is something we always have in the application, so you can provide information you feel we missed asking you for, or to give the admissions committee context where you feel something in your application materials might leave them with a question. The addendum should be formatted as a letter. Please do not spin your wheels to create an answer for this if you don't have one. You don't have to use it if you don't need it. However, over the last 2 years in particular, we're very much encouraging the use of the addendum for giving us COVID context. This year, some students are going to have gaps in their materials, and we don't want to penalize students for any decision they've made as a result of the pandemic. But because it's affecting everyone so differently, we're looking to you to provide that critical context. For example, it's totally fine to have gone the route of credit, no credit grades, even for the prerequisites. Just tell us why you made the decision that you did. Any reasoning or decision, of course, is fine, but we can't intuit what factors you're facing. We're looking to you to tell us what those are, and this is your opportunity to do so. Here are our application deadlines. We will also host opportunities for one-on-one assistance and feedback up until and throughout winter break. These are opportunities for you to connect with a Batten ambassador on anything relating to application. You can ask questions, bring in a draft outline of essays, brainstorm, or get feedback on your resume. Keep an eye on our weekly listserv message, Batten Beginnings, to learn about how to take advantage of these resources. My colleague Courtney and I are available for general questions at any time. You can email or book an appointment with us using the link you see here. Best of luck, and I look forward to reading your application.